It's the final countdown.
Also copyrighted.
You can sing it. It's fair use. Fair use.
This is Technophile ReelTalk. Thank you to this episode's sponsor, Checkpoint Software.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Technophile ReelTalk. This is the show where we take technology professionals and react to how TV and media and all that good stuff depicts technology. So, as always, we know that Hollywood takes liberties with how they want to portray things. Usually it's to enhance a scene. Usually it's just to make things more exciting. And most of the time it's because it's made up, and thank goodness for the world of fantasy. But what happens when fantasy is our reality? So this week we are doing everyone do drum roll with me. We're doing the Matrix. We're doing the Matrix. And doing the Matrix with me, we welcome Bob and my personal favorite person in the whole wildest world, William in the house. William and Bob, welcome to Technophile ReelTalk.
Thanks for having us.
Looking forward to this. This should be fun.
That's
such a great movie.
Okay, you two are hilarious. I love you. And I'm just going to tell you right now, everyone, they have an open door whenever they want to come back policy, because even when we were just chatting about what movie we want to do, they were like cracking me up. So I might just walk away and just let these two run the show. Let me just tell you right now. So, okay, before we get started though, Bob, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Why are you so insistent on doing Matrix?
Because it was available. No, there's so many good movies on that suggested list, but Matrix is a classic. I mean, that was kind of in my coming to age. That was like when I was in high school, Matrix came out. It's one of the things that got me excited about computers, technology, all sorts of stuff. Plus, I remember all the long weekends of trying to download the soundtrack with Napster, and getting up in the morning and be like, did I get that song by, Rob Zombie? And no, it failed 70% and then try it again. And then, get some weird torrent, some weird viruses and stuff. Good times. So bringing that up in therapy has made me think about how great it is, right?
Oh, that's funny. Oh, rest in peace, Napster. Oh my God. Yes. These kids today.
They don't know the struggle.
They do not know the struggle, man. I mean, oh my goodness. The struggle of even to predate this whole Matrix thing is even back when it was dial-up, right? Like you're downloading something and then mom picks up the freaking phone and you're like, oh, someone is dating themselves. Okay, William, speaking
I've got a 96 mod. Woo!
Uh-oh.
William, well, hey, you're similarly aged as me. So what was about Matrix for you when you're like, Syya, I want to do Matrix?
Classic. So anybody who's in technology, who uses it, maintains it, builds it, designs it, going to love this movie if they have not seen it. I mean, if you're talking sci-fi, you're talking tech, you're talking any topic today, AI, humanity, ethics, this movie has it all. So it has so many different elements that we can explore. It's exciting. It's engaging. Visually, it's very engaging. And then they have great dialogue and great sound bites. So this is a must-have of viewing here.
The movie is literally from last millennium, and I still use it in casual conversation. Yeah. My kids will say something and I'll be like, there's a hiccup in the Matrix or something if they repeat themselves, things like that. So it's just a classic, absolutely mandatory watching as far as I'm concerned.
And by the way, one of my martial arts instructors, after he saw this movie, he documented the best dialogue and quotes from the movie. So he came into the studio like the following couple of weeks and he started talking. I said, oh, this sounds familiar. It's like this is from the Matrix. He had a list of 10 things, and they're classic quotes.
I know Kung Fu.
Yes.
Nice. Well, Look, I'm going to be the lame one here. Keanu Reeves. Whew. I wasn't really all up into him all that much, but I got to say, 20 years later, looking at it,
I feel like this is what launched him. He did plenty of stuff before this, but this is where he went mainstream, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think where he got taken more seriously, right? Like
more seriously than Bill and Ted, slightly.
Okay. I love Bill and Ted, and I would like to do that review. I mean, talking about, the concept of time travel, but that's a different conversation altogether. Okay.
Be awesome to each other.
Guys, are we ready for our first picture?
We were born ready. Take your red pill, gents. We're getting in here.
I'm ready to plug
kids,
in.
We're going to be doing, we're doing this. Okay, everyone. As you all know, I don't pick scenes chronologically. I pick whatever, or quite frankly, whatever pleases us. So we're doing the infamous red blue pill scene. So guys, are you ready?
Oh, ready. Born ready.
Okay.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere.
Look at him.
It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window.
I just love that old study look and feel.
You can feel it.
I love that voice.
Oof. When you go to church. When you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes.
I have to say, that's peak Lawrence Fishburne.
It is.
I think this launched both Keanu and Lawrence.
And the fact that he wears shades in the dark
I
inside.
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison that you cannot smell.
I feel like whenever I record, these are my two light settings too.
Prison.
Either whole face, too bright, or whole face, too shadow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no one can be.
I love this. You got to experience it yourself.
You have to see it for yourself.
I identify.
He pulls it out all magically. Yeah.
This is your last chance. After this, there's no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want.
Nighttime meds.
Yeah.
You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Red's the party meds.
Yes. Big moment. Big moment.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth.
That's perfect.
Don't you love that disclaimer?
Operate vehicles after completing.
And that time that lightning in the background, perfect.
Follow me.
Woo-wee! Okay. Holy smoke and crack on crackers. I've seen portions of, I'm going to have to do a full disclosure. I have seen the movie in pieces and I forgot how visually
it's so good.
It's like, it's sexy for lack of a better description. To me, it's just so like the sunglasses right there with that, the red and the blue. To me, it was like, oh, I'm hooked. I'm in. So what is your first assessment and thoughts on the filming of the scene itself?
I mean, the filming, yeah. I mean, if you look across the entire movie, I mean, that's one of the things that I think brought it out was how many stylistic choices they made, but then like the technology they used in the recording itself. The scene right after here where he actually goes into the Matrix, and they have the liquid metal thing. That's crazy. All the bullet time filming they're doing throughout this movie. Their use of like monochromatic when you're in the real world versus when you're in the Matrix and everything's full of color. I mean, it's so good. It's such a good movie.
William.
And I love the fact that they kind of take Neo as a metaphor for the humanity, like especially go day-to-day grind. Yep. And that coloring, like you talk about, Bob, that monochrome, like it's like something's off here in this world. Everything looks boring. It looks meticulous. Something's up. So the background color scheme, the way he's walking through the offices before he encounters Neo, it's just perfect. And then to be in that room where he's presented with a choice is like, hey, by the way, Neil, there's a reason why you feel, or not just say Mr. Anderson, right? So that's before we know what Neil, his hacker name.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes. But the fact that there's a possibility of learning of a truth that would explain why he feels weird or strange. Powerful.
So, so we're all in technology and we understand the red and blue pill, what that actually could potentially mean. We're in the world and now, right? 20 plus years later, the world of AI, right? And there's a lot of implications with that red and blue pill. So let me just challenge you guys this. And I'm really curious. In general, I don't even have to say the world AI, but okay, we're in the world of AI. Would you take a red pill or a blue pill if you were presented it today?
Yes. Given this, I mean, I'm a don't give up kind of guy, so I'd be red. And even if that meant, what we end up finding is a huge struggle, I would still rather take real over fake.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think red. Because in our world today, it's almost like the algorithms create a virtual world for us, right? Most will go down a certain path, a certain click, a certain connection. That world we create, what we see every day, is not the full world, right? It's a piece of it, a slice of it. So if you got an opportunity to see multiple slices, now you're starting to get to like, why do things work the way they work? What's the meaning of life? Can I make an impact? And the only way you can do that is you got to take the red pill, right? Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in this little piece of the world. And it's a limited piece of the world.
It is.
Yeah, that's the other thing. How do you know that anything matters at all if you're just part of the program?
Look.
Like nothing matters.
Now you got the Metallica song in my head. Great. Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
Nothing else matters.
So, okay, well.
You know what this is like, Bob? Yeah. It's almost like a hypervisor. The red pill gets you to the hypervisor.
Yeah.
And on top of that hypervisor are thousands of virtual machines. So it's like, I want root access.
Pick which one you want to get into.
Yes.
You guys are cracking
That's what
me
you
up.
want to be.
Okay, because as techie techs, right? Technical professionals, I think red pill, because you have to fix things. So you have to get to the root cause of things, and living in a fantasy world, for lack of a better description, is not feasible because of your profession, right? Now, could you suspend what you do for a living just for a second? What if you are someone that's not in technology? Maybe you're a underwater basket weaver.
Big market for that. Yes. Although the whole market's underwater.
Huge. So, especially with, global warming, there's going to be a lot more water now, right? So would you still feel the same way with red pill or blue pill? Because maybe you don't know what's going on in the, back end, but all you see is the convenience of living. What you're seeing is the beauty of things. Look at social media. So would you still be red pill versus blue pill if you're not in the world of technology?
Absolutely. Because there's more than just basket weaving, right? Somebody made something that went into the basket. Somebody made some device that you put the basket in to transport it. So just by seeing other people do different things, there are different aspects of life, different things you can work on. So as a basket weaver, I want to know what else is out there, right? So while I'm living, what else is possible? What are other people experiencing? Because if I only as a basket weaver for the rest of my life, it's not an incomplete life. So I got to see more.
See, it's hard because in this situation, I mean, putting myself in the role play, Neo or Mr. Anderson here knows there has to be something more because it just doesn't make sense. Everything's a grind. Nothing seems to be working out. Nothing seems satisfying. That's a little different for me because in my real life, I'm very satisfied. I have a wonderful family. I live in a wonderful country that allows us to pursue whatever we want. I was able to go to an excellent school. So for me, I don't have that feeling of everything's a facade and this can't be real because I can't control my own destiny. I do feel like I can control my own destiny. So for me, I would never be in the room to be given a red or a blue pill because I wouldn't be seeking for what's behind the scene because I feel like I'm in the scene.
Okay. Oh, very fascinating. Okay. Well, hey, guys in the audience, would love to hear. Are you red pill or blue pill? And I hear you guys, we're on,
and don't take drugs.
we know that there's going to be folks that are always red pill. And I know many of you are watching this on LinkedIn versus YouTube or hearing it, but be truthful to yourself. I'd be really intrigued to see how many people are like, you know what? Ignorance is bliss, man. I just want a happy existence. My time on this planet is short. A lot of these problems are not my problems. They've been created. And why do I want to carry the burdens of the world? I mean, there is something to that side. I'm just saying. So,
however,
just take both pills. Problem solved.
But think about this.
Well, that was me in college.
But think about this, though. In our real life, we have it easier compared to Neo. Think about this. So if you want to experience something else, you could literally turn among hundreds and hundreds of cable channels. So if you got one perspective on life, you can turn a channel and temporarily join that world and then go through 100 channels. Then you can go online to different YouTube channels, different perspectives, different languages. You can travel. You can walk outside, different people from all aspects of life. And then you can return back to your world and your home. So we actually have it easier. So we actually don't have to take a pill. We just got to push the button or click somewhere else or go outside the house.
It's a great point. It's very easy to experience something else. Right now in my visual, I have my laptop screen. I have my other screen. Over here, I have 2 more screens going, and then I have a TV on the wall over here. Yeah. So I have 5 screens going at the moment. I can experience a lot. # thanks ADHD.
And the other thing in the movie, I think everybody else is in the same situation as Neo, right? They're all stuck in the exact same spot. And if you go and talk to your family members, you automatically have a different perspective already, a different experience. So sorry, Neo.
Not to get too cultural.
Yeah.
Not to get too cultural into our time, but when you look at what's driving up to that point in the movie, he's trying to find the answer. He's not satisfied with life. And the main people he's surrounding himself with are hackers or partiers or drug users or people who are also trying to escape their reality. So he's surrounded by people that need to escape because this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel inclusive. It doesn't feel satisfying. So there's a lot going on. There's a really well-written movie.
Well, hey, we can continue waxing poetic on red pill, blue pill, purple pill, which is how I ended up here.
All the pills. Purple pill. Green pill.
Exactly.
Go outside the norm.
Okay, so I'm going to move us on, guys, because otherwise we're going to be here all day.
Let's do it.
Are we ready for our second clip?
I am.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible.
I can bend the spoon.
Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends. It is only yourself.
The Oracle will see you now.
Okay. So let us talk about what kind of technology goes behind CGI. I've always been curious how much performance of, CPU, memory, all that good whatevers. What does it take to render that spoon back in 2002 versus today?
I was about to say, it couldn't have been too much because this was 1999. So maybe an Etch-a-Sketch and a magic 8-ball.
They just turned the camera to the side.
They didn't
make
have
the spoon look big.
All it actually takes is a blue pill.
I'm happy with my blue pill, people.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Okay, come back to me here, kids. Seriously though.
Yes.
Okay, so to render a lot of the stuff that they showed, like, okay, so in this context, it was the spoon bending, right? Now, we could argue it, back in the day, for those kids that don't know, it could have been drawn, right? Like Disney style, right? But this is actual CGI.
Yeah.
So can you guys spitball, back in the day, do you recall how much it would take to create this? Or just compare it to today, like,
it was just the spoon itself that was something that was altered. Everybody else was just human, regular interactions. So that particular one with the spoons would be much easier compared to the majority of the scenes, especially the fight scenes where you talk about the magic and the bending and the bullets passing by, which is more complicated, more calculations, more computation. So that one, I don't think was too difficult even back in that time for just the pure that is pending.
I'm trying to think of like what they had for physics engines back then, because I think the harder thing was the light reflection. Because I mean, changing a shape and stuff is pretty amateur, right? It doesn't take a whole lot to change a shape, but it needed to calculate how that changed his reflection at every point and every angle. So that's the harder part, is trying to do the kind of photon physics that they would have had to have done back then. That's a hard one. And then the other one that I think is probably more effort than we give it credit for is going back to the red and the blue pill. After that, he like gets covered in liquid metal and goes into the Matrix. And I try and think about how much calculations that would take, because it's all the reflections of all the angles as he's getting covered. And that one seems more intense than the spoon one to me. The spoon you might actually be able to get relatively easy by having like a bunch of mirrors and then just picking what portion of the mirror you're doing. I don't know how they did it back then. Not a graphics artist.
Yeah, but if you think about it, like, who was it that was talking about, like, when Pixar came out with How to Train a Dragon? I think it was like massive amount of terabytes of like data that they had to calculate and whatnot. Now, granted, again, that's later, but man, how innovative was that? That's right. Matrix is 1999, right? 98, 99.
I mean, I picture it back in video games. Yeah, like back then, I remember installing a game that might take like a gig, and you'd be like, wow, this must have a ton of cinematics and stuff to be a gig. And I just downloaded a game that came out today, #Path of Exile 2. And that download was 88 gigs. So you look at how a video game has gone up 80x in the last 25 years. I mean, you're probably talking similar on requirements in order to do anything basic on these things. There's a lot of special effects in Matrix 2. And not only are there a lot of special effects, there's a lot of birth of special effects that you'd never seen before. So they're figuring a lot of this stuff out. When you're doing the bullet scenes, that was like, I believe, the birth of bullet time camera. And what they would have is they would have like a circular rack, and the camera would go, and it would be like a fast picture camera, and it would just take pictures all around. And that's how they did the slow down time and pan around while things were flying by and stuff like that. And you figure, if you have to have like 20 or 30 cameras, that's 20 or 30 times more storage. And then if it's taking pictures quicker, that's another multiplier. And now you have a multiple of multipliers. Hopefully you're not saving that up on EBS storage in AWS, or you're bankrupt.
So it starts to get into when people say, man, why does movies cost so much money? You start to understand that, right? And remember now, in the older days, you'd have these series that would be like 24 episodes a year. They can't afford 24 episodes a year when they start to add that much special effects to standard hour shows. So now it's like, we're going to give you 12 episodes because that's all the budget will fit. So, but now you talk about salaries for the actors, the special, all this technology in the background, very, very expensive. But the consumer, the moviegoers, we love and appreciate the work that goes into it. So it's worth every dollar.
I mean, you're reminding me of Westworld, the TV series.
And a lot of special effects in that.
I mean, woo! thinking about where Matrix was with the spoon bending and how mind blown we were with bullets. Then we go to the special effects today. It's just absolutely stunning. So, okay. So any thoughts on the spoon scene? Because I'd love to go on to the rooftop scene. Can we?
Yeah, but there's so much tech stuff that comes right after that spoon scene. So that spoon scene, they're going to see the Oracle, and the Oracle is the one that has all the answers. And the thing that's funny about that is Oracle is a database company. Like everybody's familiar with Oracle. And what do you use the database for? To have all the answers. And then the other funny part is she lives in the Matrix. So she is online. And the scene right before he gets to ask her a question, she offers him a cookie. And that's funny because when we try and use an online application now, we need to accept cookies first. So I think it was a little, I don't know if they meant that way or if it was just supposed to be like a nice homey feel, but it's funny that you have to accept a cookie before you can ask the application a question.
That is funny.
Well, it has even bigger implications. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was saying that has to be, I think that has to be an Easter egg.
It was a really good one. And I didn't pick it up until like probably 15 years after I watched it originally. But in fairness, when I watched it originally, I was in high school. So like, I just liked cookies.
Well, think about the implications of that, though.
That's actually a recurring theme, though.
Yeah.
Right. So what do we use a cookie for? We use
go ahead.
Yeah, we use a cookie for tracking, right? So if we see that we've downloaded that image into our cache or something, we know that we've already been on that site. But that's essentially what the red pill is. The red pill was used as tracking so they could find him in the Matrix. They could pick up his signature. So that was a concept of a cookie. Later, you have Cypher drop a phone in a trash basket so they could track again. So several times throughout, we have this idea of tracking and cookies throughout the film, which is a nice technology spin as well.
Well, we all know we're all getting tracked. Even now in this conversation, I'm sure I'll be hit up with a bunch of Matrix type stuff now.
Oh, yeah. And I've already had cookies today, so that's not as relevant, but I do like cookies. So.
Well, I find it very interesting.
Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah. What's interesting is the whole trust model, right? Real quick on that one, the trust model here, right? So you have to go to a stranger that you never met before if you want to get these answers. And they hand you a cookie. Like, what do you tell kids? Don't accept candy or items or cookies from strangers. But if they want the answer or ask a question, you got to accept the cookie. And even though you have all this specialized cybersecurity software, the block stuff, where if you don't allow it, you can't use the services. So it's all built on trust if you want to interact with other people and all this technology. So I just find that fascinating, though, the whole
cookie is part of the EULA.
Yes. Eat it at your own risk.
Yeah, I totally read all this.
What a great point. Dude, okay. Well, this goes back again. Red and blue pill, right? Like, do you want to see the underpinnings and how that sausage is made? Or you know what? I'll just go to oracles and trust whatever they have to say is going to be gospel, right? So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to keep talking all day long. Are you ready for the last clip? I'd love to try to get us in.
All right.
For a third, if possible. Okay. Oh my gosh. I just got Team America in my head.
It's a great movie, too.
Ooh. Look at that.
Technology of puppets.
Ooh. Oh, I love this. Go, Neo. The optimism.
Ooh. Ooh.
Ouch.
Good. Adaptation, improvisation. But your weakness is not your technique.
And I love the music right there. Oh, yeah.
The whole soundtrack from start to finish, absolute gold.
Ooh. how long it took him to do the coordination. He's good to action there.
Ooh. I love this anticipation.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I mean, look. Okay.
I mean, the build up to this was he's got a jack in his head and he just downloaded understanding Kung Fu, which is cool because we think about how we learn things. It's a combination of like moving our physical body and then relaying that to information that we store in our brain, and we get that muscle memory. And he just flat out gets to download it. And now he gets to show it off. And what comes after this, as William was talking about earlier, there's this concept of, you think that's air you're breathing? You think that these rules are actually holding you back? This is all in your mind. And so we start to learn that some of these are assets that get pulled into the program. So like when they're going into fight scenes, they might download guns, they might download weapons or things like that. But there's other things that appear to be variables. So like your speed, your strength, these are things that you can choose how strong you are. You can choose how fast you are. And as long as it's within reason, you get to make yourself faster and stronger. And that's what we were seeing. Lawrence Fishburne kicking Keanu Reeves' butt because Keanu didn't realize he could move faster yet.
Fascinating.
It's this whole thing.
I mean,
yeah.
Go for it, William.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's this whole thing of the limitation is your mind itself. But it's interesting, virtually all the humans have the same limitations. So machines coded a world in which the humans follow these very specific rules. So even Morpheus, who's aware of this, has limitations. So the whole concept of the movie is Neo is the one, where his mind's a little bit better, where he can see beyond the programming and the limitations of what the program says you can and can't do. And he's special because his mind is like, you know what? I can jump higher. I can move faster. And when I tell my mind these limitations don't apply to me, he has unlimited capabilities, which is just fascinating.
Yeah, this might be a spoiler alert for such a new movie that came out 25 years ago. But at the end, like, he realizes, oh, okay, I can actually control the Matrix, and he just flat out flies off. I mean, like, the rules do not apply to this man anymore.
Well, I think, okay, so what was getting me is like, so he discovers, and he does, again, buck the laws of physics, climbing up the thingy to like flip over, the column to flip over. Yep. Now, granted, anyone that knows anything about all the stunt guys that, like, Jet Li and, Jackie Chan, they do that. Obviously, maybe not at that scale, but what I thought was interesting is, like you said, is like, yeah, he learned he can do it, but there's Lawrence Fishburne just watching him, waiting, like, okay, be fancy, but when you land, I'm just going to kick you. Like,
and not only kick you hard enough to break a pole. Yeah.
So there's learning, and then there's wisdom. I think there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. And I think that scene, you won, guys. You told me this is a really great scene that talks about, again, how we apply, all the things that, the convenience of what we need in today's society. And you guys are the ones that are driving the technologies, ensuring that we're able to deliver on these needs that we have demanded, and doing it securely. That's the other thing. Securely, we haven't really talked about. The Matrix doesn't really dig into this. How do you think, based on the movie, they view security? Because it feels like it's secure when it is convenient, and other times, woohoo, it's wide open. And
that's an interesting question. And I remember thinking about this back when I originally watched it, and every time since. So when they're talking about going in and out of the Matrix, in order to get out of the Matrix, they have to get to a landline. So they have to find like a physically cabled in telephone in order to be able to jack back out. And all of us who were there when the internet was created, we all had that wonderful experience with the modems and somebody picking up a phone while you're on it and they get that kind of concept. The weird thing, though, is the Matrix is a program. So why does a program have a reliance on a physical object that doesn't exist because it's only in a program? That's something that I never really got my head around, is it seemed like a contradictory.
Maybe that's the one area it's showing its age.
I think in the movie they explain it as a broadcast access point. The phones inside the Matrix is kind of a virtual manifestation of what it is, because they had to go through these machines on the outside world. Find an access point, the way to connect, and actually hacking into the system, which is pretty cool, right? When you think about it, these folks who are hacking in had some experience, I guess, over the age of actually designing the original machines, who went rogue, and then started war against the humans. But it's interesting. They should probably need
that's actually a really interesting point, and something that should be dived into, especially when you're talking technology. So you have these. First of all, the very first thing that we notice with technology here is how unfortunately accurate it is in its gender inequality. So you have 9 major characters here in this technology movie, and 2 are female, and unfortunately that's pretty close to realistic statistics, which I think in reality we have about 25% women in technology, and that's 22%. But they're able to control the Matrix, they're able to load in things, and is by manipulating the code, right? And we see that today. We see injection attacks, we see all sorts of stuff. Anyone who's watching this on a computer, feel free to look up the comic about Little Bobby Tables, which is about SQL sanitization. And in that, they name their kid like Robert, and then parentheses, drop table students, and then end parentheses. So when they type his name in, it actually drops the students table within the school's database. And that's the same concept, right? They're trying to get into either buffer overflows or trying to get into memory so that they can pull other things into the programming for these guys. So there's a lot going on here. It's a cool movie.
Wow.
And the other interesting thing is the legacy aspects, because the humans, remember, the bulk of the human population is connected. So there's some legacy compatibility issue where there's probably some limitations on what they can do with the code, the machines can do with the code. Can they keep having to rebuild it? Because the humans have to believe what it is. So it probably leaves some openings for their ability to hack in and manipulate it later on, which is pretty cool.
I failed to follow why they would use us as batteries, which is essentially what they're doing. They're farming people to be like heat batteries. And if you look at the BTUs, humans generate like 250 BTUs. That's going to be like at most 100 watts. So that's not going to power a whole lot. Okay. You could do like compost piles that would do more than that, and it would be easier to feed than people.
Speak for yourself, young man. Okay, you don't go through menopause. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, fair, but I've run flashes.
I think, us ladies, we make up for what you're talking about. That's what
my wife says. I'm hot.
Oh, Jade's always. Okay, guys. So final thoughts on this. So Matrix, I know we're all in love with it, but for a 25-year-old movie ish, has it held up well?
It has.
And so it has held up well. Do you think we play it for the kids today, the Gen Z and Alphas? Do you think they would still get the same excitement that we had for The Matrix?
I was debating showing it to my kids now. Mine are slightly on the young side for this. They're 11, 8, and 8. Yeah. But I could see in a few years showing them. It's completely iconic, and it's one of those, hey, you should watch it anyway, but I think it legitimately holds up, except for the first 20 minutes. The first 20 minutes is dated. It is rough. It's meant to be uncomfortable. And I think, especially with my kids, I would lose their attention in that because it's boring, grayscale, showing you how crappy it is to be in the Matrix. So I think the first 20 minutes is maybe a snooze fest and a skip. But I think beyond that, I think I'd hold my kids' attention with this. It's pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
William?
They got the exciting music, great visuals. And they got the protagonist, the hero, Neo, that you're rooting for. The interaction with the technology, with the humans, I mean, the suspense, all the attributes of great storytelling is there. So 25 years later, still relevant, still exciting.
It's very subtle things too. Like if you look at it, there's so many like religious references for a variety of religions. So they're doing a lot to even be culturally ageless, because the Christians are going to pick up that stuff. The Buddhists are going to pick up that stuff. The Muslims are going to pick up that stuff. And so it's really smart writing on top of it. Plus it's nice to see the John Wick origin movie.
Oh, yes. Yes. Hey, look, my summary of this whole thing is Keanu Reeves. I got to tell you, man. Whew.
Carrie Ann Moss.
Okay, so... Oh, she's held up. So, I mean,
Trinity and Pleather.
Yes.
Okay, we need to come back and review the other ones, guys, for sure. So I really appreciate your time, Bob, William.
Anytime.
You guys are rock stars. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to stop us because I know we're going to keep going on forever. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us thank you for everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
You.
Why do I feel like in the Matrix? Remember how they just repeated, like there's a glitch there?
There's a glitch in the Matrix.
There's a glitch in my head for sure. Everyone.
There's a glitch in the Matrix.
Thank you so much for joining Technophile Real Talk. We will see you the next time.